Hi, I'm Liz Lumley for FinTech Finance, and I'm sitting down talking to the very famous Scarlett Sieber. How are you?
Sieber.
Sieber.
Like Bieber, you'll always remember that.
Now I will always remember that. Thank you very much. You've just come off the Future of Money panel here at In a Tribe at Sibos. What are some of the things you talked about?
Gosh, we unpacked a lot in an hour. I would say for me it was, when we talk about the future of money, that's such a high level, broad topic, and it can really encompass so many different things. So for me, I focused from a US perspective as the only American on the panel, talking about, before we talk about the future of finance, we need to talk about and who really that impacts. Let's start with the banks. And in the US especially, we have seen mass consolidation. So we're losing about a bank a day. In the last 10 years, we have consolidated 34%. And just this year alone, we're at almost 200 that are no longer in existence. And
in the US?
In the United States.
Okay.
And so I think that that's going to continue to happen. But the response to that is, who does that impact in the rest of the United States? And the heart, in my perspective, the heart of America is our small businesses, and the top 5 do not service them as well as they need to be. So this is like the rest of these organizations and these financial institutions are the one who has typically been servicing them. And as they continue to consolidate and disappear, my concern is what's going to happen to small businesses who really build up the economy for our country.
So what type of, like, when something disappears, it leaves a void. What do you think is going to fill that void?
The fintechs are trying. So I think that a bit of consolidation is okay, but we need to be careful, and my hope is that we start equipping and helping these institutions so that there is not that void. Fintechs will try. I think they will be successful, but I don't necessarily believe that they're going to be able to do it at the scale that's necessary. And so I believe that a few of these financial institutions will really take the leap in ways that they haven't before to expand in ways that they haven't really.
Okay, so you're seeing from the U.S. that it's the banks that are going to kind of, fill that void, or I'm looking for the word, sort of coming up, fulfilling the promise that they should have had a few years ago, especially in terms of small businesses. I'm trying to compare it with here in the UK. We seem to be having a new bank a day. And then in the US, you're losing a bank a day. But it's sort of the banks that are left behind that are going to step up to the plate.
I think it will be a mixture of banks and fintech. So this is a conversation. One of the things that we spoke about on the panel is like, okay, this future of money happened a few years ago in Singapore in 2015, and it was all about banks versus fintech collaboration, blah blah blah. Now, that's old news, but honestly, let's ignore the top 10 banks in the United States for a second. That conversation is still being had at the heart of the banking system in the United States, and so they're still having that question. Are fintechs our competition? Many of them have still not seen the full impact of what's going to happen there. So my belief is that if we look at the future and what's going to happen, a few of them will start being much more progressive, take big bets and make big differences, and then combined with fintech, they'll be working together and in some cases acquire each other. Like I also could see fintechs acquiring banks.
Yeah. So I'm going to have a final question about semantics. So when you're talking about the future of money, what are you talking about? What's money? Is it cash? Is it currency of value? Where has that conversation moved on from? What are you talking about when you mean the future of money?
It's a great question, and we were debating that on the panel. Money is a idea, and for us it holds value. So let's go back to the US again for a second. If we think about money, let's talk about cash, because the US is definitely different than other markets in Europe and elsewise. I had a few friends over from Europe about 10 days ago in New York, and they were surprised that they were still going to restaurants that were cash only. So the Federal Reserve Bank
seems to be a backlash.
Yes, yes. And the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco just did a detailed survey on what's happening on the western coast of the United States, and 26% of transactions are still cash-based in the US. And the surprising factor for me was the biggest users of that, people the age 25 and below. So even though you're hearing about millennials, Gen Z, all this stuff, and we're fully digital, I mean, I think that is true, but then, stats don't lie, and there's still a big influx of cash. So, I mean, the future of money, I think, is a combination of all these things. So where will Libra fit into this? Where will cash fit into this? I don't see cash going away in the United States. I think it will slowly, dwindle, but it's not going away anytime soon. And then I think the cryptos will start playing even more so than they do. Square Cash has been growing a lot quarter over quarter. the younger generation tends to like them a lot, and they do have, Bitcoin, and you can move money through that as well. So I think it's a combination of all of those factors when you think about the future of money.
Yeah, especially when you look to see what's going on with China, with social capital. And
oh, yes.
It's a brave new world we're moving towards.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.